Live Your Dream. A Guide to Help You Reach Your Full Potential. By Lisa Turner. Introduction. Who are you? You are a person with big dreams. You've got ambition. You want to do some really incredible things. But something is in your way. The drive is there, but you need a little nudge to get you going in the right direction. We all do. I know I do, or else I wouldn't be writing this book. You may be trying to write the next great American novel, or drafting the play that's been swirling around your head for the past 4 years. Maybe you're looking for your dream job or even starting your own business. You want to finally put all your good ideas on paper, canvas, laptop or the web. With some help and guidance, I truly believe you can do anything you set your mind to. It's not magic. You still need to put in the hard work and dedicate yourself to your craft. But if you implement some of the tips and tricks presented in this short book, success will come knocking at your door, I guarantee it. If you're serious about it, these small behavior changes can lead to big results. They'll show you how you can be more efficient, less stressed, and more focused on what you really want out of life. But wait, who am I? Why am I writing this book? I've been in your position before. In fact, I'm still in it. This guide serves my own self-interest as much as it will for you. It's like a roadmap to keep me focused and productive. I'm one of those people who can't sit still. It's a blessing and a curse, just ask my husband. He can sit on the sofa all day watching football while I silently judge him, brainstorming ideas for my next big project. My mind is never at rest. Instead of trying to fight it, I've started to see this personality trait as an asset. Combined with my positive attitude, I've been able to channel that energy into writing, creating, and working hard to achieve my goals. However, that energy and enthusiasm can wear thin, especially when the task is daunting or unfamiliar. Sometimes, I struggle with staying motivated and am usually way too hard on myself. Luckily, I've picked up some tips and encouragement that have helped me persevere and pursue my goals. That's what I'm sharing with you in this book. From the formation of a great idea to the implementation and follow-through of a successful project, this book has every step of the journey covered. I'll cover some techniques I've picked up to manage my time and stay focused. I'll share research I found that shows the #1 determinant for success and the surprising things you do every day that rob you of your productivity. Each chapter includes a quick exercise that you can do right away to help keep you on track. If you try out a technique and decide you hate it, then you don't have to do it. Nothing in this book is required. You can read it as a step-by-step guide, but you don't have to follow it to a T. If you're already a master of time management, then you can skip the second section. If you're at the final push of your project, then skip to the end where it focuses on finishing strong. This book is your resource, use it how you want. Listen, following your dream takes honesty and hard work. You can plan as much as you want, write as many to-do lists and other productivity hacks, but until you are putting pen to paper, or brush to canvas, fingers to keyboard, you won't get anything done. I can't help you put in the work. But I can help you make it easier to get started and finish the job. Success doesn't come overnight. It only comes from hard work. You probably won't get lucky, that's kind of how luck works, after all. But what if you could actually achieve the things you wanted in life because of the work you put in? Wouldn't that be 1,000 times more rewarding? I don't have it all figured out, far from it. I don't always follow my own advice. Nonetheless, I'll share my own stories, too. From the excuses I've told myself that have kept me from working, the doubts and insecurities I have about myself and my work, as well as the joys of my own successes. If I can share one tidbit with you helps you live your own dream, then I will chalk this book up as a success. As an adult, I can do whatever I want. I am the master of my life, and so are you. You can create the life you've always wanted. You can do what pleases you. You can overcome obstacles and fight back excuses to pursue your dreams. Take advantage of all that life has to offer. I believe that you will find the tips just as valuable as they were to me. Even if you only take away one tip from the book, I know that it will make you more productive, creative, and that much closer to pursuing your dream. Section I. Define it. Need help nailing down exactly what it is you want? The following chapters will help you decide what you want to focus on. Chapter 1. Make it specific. We all want more out of life. Even if we're already successful, we dream about a life that's better, bigger, or just different. Maybe you're doing enough just to get by, and you're sick of being stagnant. Maybe you have a big idea, but you're waiting for an exact set of circumstances before you actually act on it. Maybe you have no clue what it is you want, but you know it's out there and you're dying to get your hands on it. We struggle with actually following through on our goals because they require a lot of work. You may dream of one day quitting your job as an attorney and opening your own bakery, but you can't pull the trigger on it. It's scary and will require a ton of work. We like being comfortable and just going with the flow. But that's not how you're going to reach your full potential. Life begins outside of your comfort zone. Neil Donald Walsh. What is it that you want out of life? To be happier? Thinner? More successful? You're not alone. Most of us want to be all of those things, but we just don't know how to get there. As great as they sound, they're pretty vague. You have to get a clear idea of what it is you truly want in order to achieve it. Defining what it is we want forces us to be honest with ourselves. In order to reach your full potential, you're going to have to do things a little bit differently. By saying yes to your dreams, you're dedicating yourself to hard work and commitment. Now here's the fun part. Take a second to be absolutely unreasonable. Sit down, close your eyes, and let your mind go nuts. What would make you really happy? What is the one achievement that would make you feel like $1,000,000? What would you do if you knew failure wasn't an option? It's okay if it's out of your league, or not exactly in the realm of possibility. Don't be embarrassed or judge yourself. Don't tell yourself that you're not good, smart, talented enough. Now is the time to dream, and you absolutely cannot skip this step if you want to unlock your full potential. Here are some don'ts. Don't do what you think you should do. Instead, try to focus on what would make you the happiest. Maybe your lifelong dream is to be a traveling nude fire performer. Don't tell yourself, I should really focus on my job as an actuary, if that's not what you actually want to do. Let your gut guide you, not guilt. Don't think about what your partner, family, friends or cat wants. Is your boss pressuring you to go to graduate school, but you really don't think it's a good fit? Does your mum want you to settle down when all you want to do is travel the world? Do you think your mate will find you more attractive if you lose 10 pounds when you're perfectly content in your own skin? Look inside, figure out what would make you happy. Now, I'm not trying to kill your hopes and dreams, but it's time to get reasonable. In order to make your goal a reality, it must be concrete and achievable. The idea of making goals specific is not a new concept. Research has shown us that setting clear goals make people more motivated. In fact, the more specific and challenging your goal is, the more motivated you will be. 1. Locke, 1968. In their pioneering book, Theory of Goal Setting and Task Performance, Dr. Edwin Locke and Gary Latham developed 5 fundamental principles behind effective goal setting. These include clarity, challenge, commitment, feedback and task complexity. Over time, these principles morphed into an easy-to-remember acronym that you may have heard before: SMART goals. 2. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, timely. After you've thought of something crazy and far-fetched, try to bring it back down to earth. Scale it back if you need to, or narrow it down to something specific. Let's say you dream of becoming a renowned humanitarian who has found the cure to AIDS, which is very selfless of you. While the goal is specific, it may not be attainable or realistic. Perhaps you can start by planning a volunteer group that travels to Africa twice a year to give out medicine. It's challenging, but it's also in the realm of possibility, giving you a higher probability of success. Instead of saying, "I want to be rich," think of the amount of money you'd like to make this year without running yourself ragged. Instead of, "I want to get in shape," think of a physical feat you'd like to accomplish, like competing in a triathlon or climbing one of Colorado's 14s. If you're starting from scratch, don't aim for the Olympics. Want to be a writer? Great. Decide what you'd like to publish and keep an editorial calendar to chart your progress. Making your ambitions specific helps you keep track of your progress. If you can't measure success, then how will you know that you have achieved your goal? Visualize it. Being in shape is one thing, but seeing a specific number on the scale is a whole different ball game. Instead of wishing for worldwide acclaim for your art, picture a gallery full of your paintings. Seems a lot more likely, don't you think? Jack Canfield, creator of the Chicken Soup for the Soul books, implemented visualization techniques to achieve his worldwide acclaim. In a blog post dedicated to visualization, he tells this story: "When we were writing the very first Chicken Soup for the Soul registered book, we took a copy of the New York Times bestseller list, scanned it into our computer, and using the same font as the newspaper, typed Chicken Soup for the Soul into the #1 position in the paperback advice, how-to and miscellaneous category. We printed several copies and hung them up around the office. Less than 2 years later, our book was the #1 book in that category and stayed there for over a year." He has many more useful tips on visualization, including a step-by-step guide here. Lastly, your mental health will remain intact if you make your goal something that is in your power. Don't put your fate, or measure of success, in someone else's hands. If your goal is to win an award or competition, you're making outcome of your hard work dependent on another person's opinion. If you must, recognize that the journey getting there will likely be just as meaningful and more important than the achievement itself. Don't let your success hinge on the outcome. Exercise. What did you want to be when you grew up? What about in high school? Think back to your earliest ambitions. Is there a part of you that still wants to do those things? Chapter 2. Make it authentic. Your goal may be positive, measurable and within your capabilities, but if it's not authentic to you, then it's not worth fighting for. Anytime I may be wondering if an ambition of mine is a good fit, I do a simple exercise. You should do it too. Ask yourself, what is the ultimate picture of success? Visualize the ultimate end game. Try to look beyond the immediate here and now, and look to the future. Take your dream as far as it can go. You've made it. What does success look like? Once you've got that idea in your head, ask yourself, is this something I really want? Think about it. If the idea gives you energy, if it makes you excited and ready to get going, then it's probably a good fit. But if you still don't like the best case scenario, you may want to rethink your ambitions. It's better to figure it out sooner rather than later, after all. You are better off in life with no goals, than chasing a set of goals that belong to someone else. Philip McKinnon, 3. You may be thinking, come on Lisa, I know myself well enough to know what I want. Of course my goal is authentic to me. But for me, it hasn't always been that easy to figure out. As human beings, we are constantly bombarded by the outside world and their opinions. It's easy to become influenced by external forces without even realizing it. You have to be really honest with yourself if you want to achieve your dreams. It's not easy, and it may take a while. But it's worth it, I promise. Here's my story. About a year or two after graduating from college, I thought it would be a good idea to apply to graduate school. It was the beginning of the recession, and I still didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I always wanted to be a writer, so I figured getting my master's in journalism was the next logical step. Plus, I'd be able to live in New York City. What a dream. Or so I thought. When I got there, I realized I had no idea what I had gotten myself into. I was surrounded by people who had dreamed of becoming journalists for most of their adult life, and here I was faking it. I had to face my fears to figure it all out on my own. School was so hectic and crazy that I couldn't take a step back to breathe, or even realize that maybe, just maybe, this wasn't a good fit for me. So for 3 semesters and a summer internship, I stuck with it. After graduating, I moved to Washington, where my husband was stationed. I was thousands of miles away from the world I was once immersed in. In the small military town, it was a struggle to establish myself as a journalist. I must have assumed that I'd be able to live the same life in the Northwest as I did in New York. But in reality, I had no idea what I was doing. Even though I struggled, I was still convinced that this was my path. I mean, I just spent 2 years and tens of thousands of dollars to learn how to become a reporter. It was irresponsible to waste all that time and money. But deep down, I felt beyond hopeless. I was scared of the truth. I didn't want to admit to anyone, not even myself, that journalism wasn't a good fit for me. I was afraid to tell my professors, who had coached and mentored me the whole way through. I couldn't let my J-school colleagues know that I was totally clueless. I still wanted to impress them. I was afraid to let everyone down. I didn't want to give up on journalism because I was so afraid of disappointing the people around me. I was embarrassed. And then I did the exercise. I asked myself, what is the ultimate picture of success, even if it is completely unattainable? For me, that was becoming a freelancer who would be in such high demand that I had to turn down work. I'd be a renowned health writer, with sources who would know me as soon as they heard my voice on the line. I'd impress everyone I knew with my bylines, and maybe I'd have a column or appear on CNN for special reports. Ah, the glamorous life of a science writer. That's when it hit me. That didn't sound appealing to me at all. It just sounded like a lot of work that I didn't want to do. This whole time, I thought I was just exhausted from the grueling program. But months later, when I had recovered my confidence and energy, it still didn't sound good. And that's when I knew that I couldn't pursue it any longer. I couldn't waste any more time or energy on something I didn't love. So I changed paths. I'm not a journalist, and that's okay. My friends and family still love me. The backlash I was afraid of? It never happened. No one was disappointed in me. None of my professors questioned my integrity. In fact, everyone who matters supported me. And even if they didn't, this was my journey now. It felt true, and that was enough to keep going. I don't regret the experience whatsoever. I learned more in those 16 months than I did throughout all of college, and not just how to report or write. I became more resilient and willing to face my fears, and I made lifelong friends who endured the journey with me. So take your goal as far as it can go, and ask yourself if that's something you want. If it is, then go for it. But if not, don't be afraid to pick something else. You're not giving up. This is your life, and you have complete control over it. Don't follow through on something or follow a path that someone else wants you to take. Exercise. Spend a day asking yourself why you're doing all the things you do. This can be tedious if you're not used to it, but it can be eye-opening. Be honest with yourself. Getting in this habit will make you think twice about taking on goals that don't mean much to you. Chapter 3. Keep it to yourself. Once you've nailed down a goal that's specific and authentic to you, write it down. Its physical presence is valuable. Keep it somewhere visible, so every time you look at it, You're confronted with your full potential. It shouldn't be scary. If you keep a positive attitude and believe that you will be able to achieve this goal, then it should be motivating. And then keep it to yourself. You may have heard that telling others about your dream, especially those you trust, will keep you accountable. But research has shown that you may actually be more successful at achieving your goal if you don't share it with anyone else. This is a challenge, especially in the age of social media. But announcing your plans to others, whether it's on Facebook or at a cocktail party, gives you enough self-satisfaction that you're actually less motivated to put in the hard work. Researchers have been studying this idea for a while. In 1933, W. Mahler and his group of researchers found that if a person announces their intended solution to a problem, and group acknowledges this solution, it is established in the brain as a social reality. Even if the person had merely thought about the solution, without doing any work on it, he felt like he already did it. 4. Look at it this way. Telling people you're going to write a play or describing your inspiration behind your mixed media masterpiece, which you haven't even started yet, makes you feel like you are on the journey to your full potential. You've thought a lot about this masterpiece. In your brain, the idea is flawless. Sure, the execution hasn't quite begun, but it's close. So you tell your friends and colleagues all about your master plans. They tell you how wonderful you are, how brilliant the idea is, etc. How on earth could you be so creative? They ask. You blush and smile, tell them they're too kind. On the way home, you smile to ear, congratulating yourself for being so innovative. But that's where it stops. You've gotten just enough of that good feeling of accomplishment that you put off putting in work for just a little bit longer. Does that sound familiar? On the contrary, people who keep their goals and intentions private are more likely to achieve them. By not talking about all of the fabulous ideas you have swirling around your brain, you can actually work on them. You're not just describing to your friends and family the nuances of each character in your novel, which sounds like a snoozer fist. To be honest, you're writing them out and making them whole and real. You're not just building your dream in your mind, you're creating it and making it happen. Keeping it safe. While feedback can be valuable, it may hinder your progress while your idea is still in the early stages of formation. For now, nourish your dream with your own thoughts, expectations, and ideas. Shut your brain off from outside criticism or compliments. By keeping your dream to yourself, you are keeping it authentic to you. Of course, if you're dying to share your idea, do it with someone you trust. But also realize that you may not get the reaction you wanted. I usually tell my husband about my big ideas, because talking out loud can reveal some key issues with my grandiose plans. By simply acting as a sounding board, he brings me back to reality. He always gives me a healthy level of encouragement, and keeps it to himself if he thinks an idea is ridiculous. Honestly, if it's a bad idea, I'll probably find out sooner rather than later. If you are telling others about your goal because you want their approval or brutally honest feedback, perhaps you should wait until you have put in some work first. You may not be able to describe it well, and they criticize it. Or they tell you the direction you should go, when you were thinking of something completely different. Your ideas aren't bad. This person is just looking at them with a different point of view. And if they want to write the next great American novel, then they can take their idea and run with it. But this is your idea from your weird brain. It's your own thing and your own dream. Obviously, if other people are part of your dream, please share it. But by keeping it to yourself, you won't have other opinions to set you on the wrong course, and you won't have to justify anything to anyone. Okay. So you have your dream that is specific, authentic to you, and tacked up on your corkboard. Now you can get started with the actionable tips and tricks that should get you there in no time. Exercise: write down your dream. This is the version you're going to work with going forward. You can change it as needed, but let this version stand as your ultimate goal. Time it. Learn to make a plan, manage your time, and stay productive. Chapter 4. Start somewhere. 5-minute rule. A big goal can be daunting. It's a huge endeavor, and it's going to take a lot of time and hard work. Sometimes, when a project seems just too big to take on, it helps to start small. And I mean really small. Take 5 minutes to do something that contributes to your goal. Don't just spend 5 minutes thinking about it, actually put some work in. Make a list of all the products you intend to sell on your e-marketing site. Sketch a portrait that you plan to include on your mural. Do 30-second sprints down your block a couple times. Even if you don't build any of those products or include those sketches, you're getting the juices flowing. These tiny steps are the building blocks to your dream. You're taking your dream from an idea to reality. You may be starting from absolute zero, or you may be picking back up from a decade-long hiatus. Regardless of your starting point, you're working. Everybody who created something great, who discovered new ideas or manifested their ideas into magnificent works of art started somewhere. This is your somewhere. 5 minutes may not sound like much, but it's probably more than what you were doing before. Even 5 minutes a day is better than nothing at all. There is no deadline to your dreams. As long as you are moving forward, you'll get there. Besides, it's better to do a little bit every day than to overcommit and burn out before the project is even over. Don't tell yourself to work 6 hours a day on a project that you haven't even touched. As motivated as you may be today, you're not going to be able to keep it up. And then, if you quit, you'll be right back where you started, with a bad taste in your mouth. Instead, make the commitment so easy that you can't give up, for example 5 minutes a day. On the days where you just can't get it together, use the 5-minute rule to get a little bit closer to that goal. James Clear is one of my personal productivity and writing heroes. He writes a blog and bi-weekly newsletter that shares his tips on habits and success. I highly suggest subscribing to his newsletter. In one post, he writes about the 5-minute rule, except he makes the commitment even smaller, just 2 minutes. Habits are like inertia, Clear says. Once you start doing something, it's easier to keep going. 5. As excited as you are today about reaching your full potential, there will be days to come where the last thing you want to do is to work on your project. Commit for 5 minutes. Even if you just put in those 5 minutes, you're a success. When you're ready to put in more work, it'll be easier to go back to. Have you ever taken an extended break from a big project you were working on, and dreaded going back to it? You keep putting it off, and each day it gets harder and harder to face it again. The 5-minute trick will banish that. Starting for the sake of it. Another reason why it's important just to start somewhere is to have something to work with. Great news, it's only going to improve from here. Only people who are born with an astounding level of innate talent create masterpieces on their first attempt, so you must do whatever you can to create your first draft. It's probably not going to be very good, but starting somewhere is the only way you can improve. You're not alone. It's nothing personal, it's just the way it is. You have to have those beginning failures in order to reach success. James Clear has more advice when it comes to starting a project just for the sake of it. He says that it's more important to consistently take action than it is to succeed. There is plenty of time to improve your performance. Don't worry about making your first attempt perfect, simply put in the work and the improvement will come. It's not about the results you achieve, but rather the process of actually doing the work. 6. James Clear. You are going to make mistakes. You are going to write some awful paragraphs and come up with some terrible ideas. But it's a start. Seriously? You can look at the characters you've developed or brushstrokes you've made and figure out what you don't like about them. The more you find out about what you don't like, the better you'll get at creating things you do. You're going to realize what doesn't work and what direction you have to move in. Think of first failures and mistakes as opportunities for growth. If you don't start somewhere, you'll never know what works and what doesn't. Do not fear mistakes. You will know failure. Continue to reach out. Benjamin Franklin. I may be alone in this, but it's encouraging to hear that even the most successful people failed over and over before achieving their potential. They started with a simple idea, and then went from there. I bet even Shakespeare would cringe at some of his earlier works, but without those first attempts, we wouldn't have anything he wrote today. You're going to make mistakes. We all do. Don't be afraid of failure. Mistakes are inevitable, but they help you learn and get closer to your goal. So just keep going. Write your book, continue your training runs, keep trying to nail that self-portrait. Start somewhere and you'll take the first step on the path to success. Exercise. Think back on a time when you made a huge mistake. What were the consequences? Remember how you dealt with the situation in the past. Did you give up or try again and ultimately improve? What would you do differently with how you reacted? Resolve to make another attempt the next time you're faced with a negative consequence. Chapter 5. Break it down. Now that you have started somewhere, you may be realizing just how much work you still have to do. Before you let yourself sink into a downward spiral of doubt and despair at your overwhelming workload, break down your big project into smaller tasks. Whenever I feel like something is impossible, it's because it either feels huge or I don't have a good grasp on what it is. Breaking it down is a good way to solve both of these problems. Not only do you figure out all the little pieces that will comprise your work, you also realize what you need in order to complete it. Let's say you want to apply to graduate school. What do you need to get this done? It's okay if you don't know everything at first, but try to list as many things as possible. You'll need to have a list of schools you want to apply to. You'll probably have to write an essay, or at least take an entrance exam. You'll need a list of references or recommendations, and maybe responses to short answer questions. The list goes on. Now, instead of trying to take on one big task, applying to graduate school, you can just focus on one thing at a time. Compiling a list of potential schools is much less daunting and scary. Here's a great visual from the blog Dumb Little Man. We avoid the big project, even if just for a little while. The problem is that the longer we avoid it, the more heads the monster sprouts. At least that is how we perceive it in our mind's eye. Soon that project can be even more overwhelming than it was initially. Better to start breaking up that big project into smaller pieces right away before the additional heads start growing. Take this book for example. I knew I wanted to share what I've learned about being productive, but the idea of writing a book was intimidating. So instead, I made a list of the things I tell myself every day to stay motivated. Then, I organized them in a coherent way, and did my best to explain them in a way that's meaningful or helpful to others. It was a big mess to begin with, and it gave me a lot of anxiety. But after breaking it down to even smaller subsections and tackling them one by one, the book became a lot more manageable. I can't take all the credit for this organizational system. There are lots of project management tools that help you stay organized and structured. I relied on the outliner of Giants to organize the sections of my book in a way that made sense. Google Docs is great, but when you're working on a text that's more than 10,000 words, it can get messy, fast. Lots of writers use Scrivener to organize their thoughts, too. Wunderlist is a list-making app that will satisfy any neurotic organizer. Maybe you don't know all of what your process will entail, but you must have some general idea. Write out as much as you can, breaking each part of the process down until you feel like you can manage each step without pulling your hair out. You have to start somewhere, right? Exercise. Break off a chunk of your goal, then break it off even further. Break it down into steps so small that they'd only take minutes to complete. Chapter 6. Schedules and Habits. I'm about to share with you the #1 productivity tip that has brought me success. I've always been a list person, but this is even better than a list. See, with a list, you're almost trying to see how much you can cram into one little post-it, and consequently, your day. How many times have you actually crossed everything off your to-do list? Also, the level of importance or the amount of time it takes to do each item is rarely accounted for when making your list. Lists are great, but schedules are better. With a schedule, you're asserting that you have a finite amount of time to get the most important things done. But remember, everything always takes a lot longer than you think it will. Also, having a schedule, and sticking to it, will make you more creative, productive, and less stressed. Do you wait for motivation to hit you? For that creative stroke of genius to knock you upside the head? Well, you're an amateur. At least according to painter and photographer Chuck Close. Inspiration is for amateurs. The rest of us just show up and get to work. Many artists are famous not just for their work, but also for adhering to strict schedules. They make time every day for their work. Instead of waiting for inspiration to hit, they will perform a series of daily rituals that puts them in the right state of mind. Maya Angelou rented a local hotel room by the month and kept only a few belongings in it to minimize distractions. She would begin writing at 6:30 in the morning, and then go home around 2. At home, she would edit her work, read some passages aloud to her husband, and then call it a day. Ernest Hemingway woke up at 7 a.m. every day with the intention of writing between 500 and 1,000 words. After he completed his task, he would spend the rest of the day doing whatever he pleased, whether that was hunting, fishing or drinking, or all three. I write when the spirit moves me, and the spirit moves me every day. William Faulkner. Instead of viewing a schedule as a hindrance to your creativity, understand that it's actually quite the opposite. When you force your brain to be creative, it will often deliver. And then, you can do it more easily. If you tell yourself that you must spend 1 hour each day on your big project, then your brain will get used to working hard for that hour. I promise. Turn up for work. Discipline allows creative freedom. No discipline equals no freedom. Jeanette Winterson, British writer and activist. To increase productivity during my work periods, I do the Pomodoro method. I first found out about Pomodoro in graduate school, and then I somehow became known for it. It's a simple, free, and effective productivity tool that can work for most people. The idea is to work for 25-minute periods, with 5-minute breaks in between. After you've completed 4 work sessions, you can take a longer break, usually between 20 and 30 minutes. It can take some practice, but like anything, if you put the effort in, it will pay off. In fact, I was able to finish a short story I was working on the other day by using the Pomodoro method, in 2 hours. There are a ton of extensions you can add to your browser that not only time your work breaks, but keep you from visiting distracting websites. I'm looking at you, Facebook and Reddit. Mine is called Strict Workflow. It's strict, because I can't pause or restart the timer, and all fun websites are blocked during that period. Pomodoro isn't the only option, but it's the most simple and straightforward. Lifehack did a great write-up here. Why does a schedule work? Well, I have 2 reasons for you. For one, giving yourself a time window for your task keeps you focused and less stressed out. Let's say you decide that you will devote 2 hours a day to writing your book. If you're a morning person like I am, you will probably get up early to work on your book. For those 2 hours, all you can do is work on your book. Some mornings, you probably won't want to get up, but you do it anyways because you promised yourself. You may have days when the words are coming so fast that your fingers can barely keep up. And there will also be days where you look at your blank screen for 2 hours. Either way, you put in the time. When those 2 hours are up, you can get on with the rest of your life. You don't have to think about your book for the other 22 hours of the day, unless you want to, of course. It won't be nagging at you all day because you already put your work in. You don't have to think about it again until you get to those early morning hours. Secondly, by setting a schedule you introduce regularity into your life, helping the task become second nature. You're building a habit. You're becoming the person that works on your project every day, regardless of the weather, your mood, what side of the bed your spouse woke up on, or how loud your kids are screaming that day. You're making your project part of your life. After a while, you won't have to rely on motivation to achieve your goals. It will feel weird not to work on your project. You won't have to ask yourself if this is something you want to do or not. It will just become part of who you are. Sounds so simple, right? And it is. But it requires an extreme level of dedication. It may take a lot of time for this to become habit. You may start to think that you hate writing, or painting, or running, or building a business, and you just want to give up. But if you stick with it, day in day out, you will see the results of your schedule and dedication. That will surely keep you going. For me, keeping a schedule reminds me that I've done something productive. It helps me stay positive, and makes me feel like I'm one step closer to reaching my full potential. But believe me, I'm far from perfect. Some days, I'll never seem to get going, and the day will just pass me by. I'll take Saturday off from doing anything productive to spend time with my husband or explore our new city. Take those days, relish in their nothingness, and get right back on your feet the next day. Just don't let the bad days pile up. Exercise, write out a few tasks you need to do in order to move forward with your project. Estimate how long each task is going to take. Next, set aside time for each of those tasks throughout the week. Be generous with the amount of time you allot. Remember, everything takes longer than you think it will. Chapter 7. Don't procrastinate the hard stuff. You've planned as much as you possibly can. Not only do you have your dream in mind, you've laid out the steps to take you there and set aside time to do a little bit of work each day. If this were all it took to reach your full potential, then we'd all be living our dreams. But whether you feel ready or not, it's time to put the hard work in. Do the most important thing first. Don't make up excuses that keep you from reaching your full potential. We all have creative ways of putting off hard work, myself included. While researching the most common excuses people use to put off work, I stumbled upon an article from Celestine Kua, a life coach based in Singapore. She knew she wanted to fulfill her life's passion in personal development, but her corporate job kept getting in the way. She continued making excuses for why she wasn't following her dream until she realized that unless she actually put the hard work in, she would never reach her full potential. She did it, and now she helps others follow their own dreams. Kua refers to the excuses that hold us back as procrastination lies, because they are often false justifications that only make us feel better about procrastinating. 7. Are any of these familiar to you? I'll do it tomorrow. I work better under pressure. Putting this off for a day/week/month won't make that much of a difference. I don't have enough time. News flash, there is nothing better about tomorrow. Putting something off until tomorrow, or doing a less important task first may set your mind at ease, but it's not getting you any closer to your goal. Every day, week, or month you wait to start working on your dream puts it that much further out of your reach. You will not regret starting the work right away. A year from now, you'll wish you had started today. Karen Lamb. Just like you can become a healthier reader or a more detail-oriented accountant, You can also get rid of your procrastinating tendencies. Don't give in to the idea that you work better if you put things off. Think about the last time you were rushing to finish a project. Not only were you wasting time in the beginning by not starting, you probably didn't create your best work. Sure, you got it done, but you didn't have the time to make edits or look it over before you turned it in. You can do better work with more time. And if you don't feel like you have any time, think about all the opportunities you waste where you could be working. Off the top of my head, I can think of 3 that I did this morning. I'm sure you have some extra time too. If it's important to you, you will align your schedule and habits to match your new priorities. Make the time to put the work in. Don't let something that isn't as important to you serve as a barrier to your life's ambition. I get very anxious when I procrastinate. It's like a combination of dread and stress. It tears me up inside. When I get that way, I will do anything I can to make the feeling go away. More often than not, it's working on the project that I've been putting off. Face your anxiety head on. Do the thing you have to do as soon as you can. Don't put it off. Don't tell yourself any more lies to make yourself feel better about not working. Those are all excuses that are getting in your way from achieving your goals. There is no point in justifying your excuses to yourself. You can tell yourself all you want that you have a certain working style, but if that working style isn't working for you, that is, you're not reaching your full potential, then you have to let it go. Procrastination can sneak up on you in other ways, too. It's not always that obvious. Doing the little, less important things is a lot like talking about our goals and ambitions to others. It makes us feel like we're doing a lot more than we actually are. I can't count the number of times I've organized my desk, filed loose papers or cleaned up my computer desktop instead of actually working. I can't work in a cluttered space. I tell myself, if you have rituals that prime you for work, then by all means do them. But if they are little tasks that are just putting off work, leave them in the dust. There is a time for research. But you cannot research your life away. You will never have enough knowledge to create something perfect. The only way you can move forward in reaching your full potential is by actually working at it. Not by reading about it, not by getting ready to do it or by planning it, but by actually doing it. Exercise. Think about your most commonly used excuse for putting things off. Mine is usually, I'm too tired, or, I don't have enough time. Pretend someone else is telling you this excuse. What would you tell them? Be honest. Next time you want to pull out your favorite excuse, you can use the response you came up with. Section A. Keep it up. The road ahead will not always be easy. Be prepared. Chapter 8. Simplify. Quick. How many things are you juggling right now? How many things are you trying to excel at? Are you trying to have a picture-perfect relationship filled with romance and affection? Are you working 10 hours a day so you can outshine your colleagues and get the promotion you had been hoping for? While also training for a marathon, perfecting your asanas, raising happy, well-behaved and bright kids while also taking up a hobby that's not only fun and family-friendly but brings in extra income every month? All in a perfectly decorated home and well-maintained garden that's perfect for entertaining, if only you had the time to invite friends over. It's time to let go. You can't do it all, nor should you try to. Life isn't perfect, and neither are you. We do way too much. Our culture promotes it. We are always encouraged to take on more, to buy more, to be more than we possibly can. We're always striving for more. Obviously, that can be a good thing, or else I wouldn't be writing this book. But it can also be overwhelming and anxiety-inducing, which is bad. Embracing a simplified lifestyle can free your mind from the craziness of daily life, keep your finances in check, and even make you a happier and more content person. Zen Habits. 8. is a popular blog on minimalism and finding simplicity in the daily chaos of your life. Creator and writer Leo Babauta has a simple living manifesto, made up of 72 ideas to simplify your life. You can find it here. If 72 sounds like too much, here's the short version. Identify what's most important to you. Get rid of everything else. Your dream is important to you. Don't waste your time with other stuff. I know, it sounds so simple. To be honest, as much as I try to preach the good word, I'm just as guilty of this as anyone else. I try to be really good at almost everything I do. I take on a lot of different projects, because I'm excited about them. But when I can't devote the necessary energy in order to be successful, I end up disappointed. Why can't I just be happy doing something instead of having to be the best at it? All I can say is that I'm a work in progress. When we try to take on everything, we end up being simply mediocre at everything instead of excelling at what's important to us. By ridding your life of distractions and low-priority tasks, you can focus on what really matters. Think of the big picture. If what you're taking on doesn't align with your long-term goals, then let it go, guilt-free. For me, that meant letting go of the physical ideas of perfection. I like to exercise, and I like to eat. I've grown stronger, both physically and mentally, since I began powerlifting. My body is healthy and in shape, but I'm heavier than I was in my college days. For so long, I thought that I had to be that number to look my best. Regardless of the muscle I've put on, I was tied to that number. But in order to get down to that weight, I'd have to be serious about tracking food and calories. I'd have to go hungry more often than I'd like. And you know what? That's just not something I'm willing to do right now. I decided to let it go. What do I need my college body for right now? I'm focused on my career. My employer doesn't care if I weigh the same as I did in college. I still eat healthy and work out as much as I can, but I'm not going to stress over the scale. I'm not saying you should settle. Don't give up on your relationship or let your house resemble a war zone. Just evaluate some of the things you put your energy into. If you feel like they are sapping you of the energy you need to fulfill your passion, then it may be time to let it go. It's hard to let go. Whether it's a pair of jeans that you were waiting to fit into or the box of art supplies that have been sitting in the garage for 3 years. You feel guilty every time you look at them. Why keep them around? Why are you trying to get your mile time down to 8 minutes when all you really want to do is excel at Pilates? Why are you hell-bent on staying on top of all the latest trends and fashions when you're dying to save up for a house? Simplify your life. Get rid of the things that are keeping you from performing at your highest level. Focus on your goal and do it well. Making sacrifices. Every person who has pursued his or her dream has had to give something up in the process. It could be time with friends or family, money spent on the craft instead of fun stuff, or ideals that they may have once held dear. Be willing to make those sacrifices. Don't jeopardize your long-term success for short-term comforts. It's easy to look at others at the pinnacle of success and think that they have it all. I can guarantee that each of them didn't have an easy road to get to where they are today. We tend to forget all the hard work that it took for them to get there. That's where you are right now, the hard work stage. Imagine, all of the work that you're putting in today will lead you to the glamorous life that we get to read about in magazines. You'll have to let some things go today to be successful tomorrow. Movie star and Oscar winner Halle Berry lived in a homeless shelter soon after she got to New York. She was 21 and out of work. But instead of giving up on her dream of becoming an actress or going back to her hometown, she made it work. A girl had to do what a girl had to do, she said. 9. It's discipline and hard work. You will make sacrifices. If you want something bad enough, then you'll focus on it enough to where it comes to you. You won't be able to do everything you want. Do one thing well and that's good enough. Exercise. Think about all of the things you do on a given day. What would happen if you stopped doing one of them? Would the world keep turning? If you feel relief when you cross a task off your list, consider letting it go completely. Chapter 9. Be humble and flexible. As you trek along, you will likely find out that things don't always go according to plan. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Even if things go horribly wrong, it's not a total loss. You can learn from your failures by adjusting your course and continuing to move forward. Don't let a little bump in the road stop you. Humility and flexibility will keep you moving forward on the path to success. Remember when you thought you had all the answers? The day I turned 13, my dad told me that things were going to be different now. I expected him to tell me that I was growing up and moving on to a stage of young adulthood, and to impart wisdom about my path. Instead, he said, "You're going to think you know everything." And it's true, teenagers think they have it all figured out. As you get older and learn more about the world, you begin to realize how big it really is, and how little you probably know about it. You meet others who are wiser and more accomplished, and you make mistakes that prove your fallibility and humanness. You slowly come to terms with the fact that you have a lot to learn. When faced with this realization, you can either be defensive and stubborn, or humble and open to change. People who choose the first option aren't able to grow like the second group is. They are stuck in their ways. We all know people like this. They are the know-it-alls or arrogant types who are convinced that they have all the answers. They may be a little argumentative, and deep down, slightly insecure. One thing is for sure, they are not fun to be around. Don't be like those people. Even the most successful businesses started off as something completely different. YouTube began as a video dating site that wasn't as successful as its founders hoped it would be. After Janet Jackson's infamous wardrobe malfunction in 2004 and the devastating tsunami in Indonesia, YouTube co-founder Jawed Karim lamented that he couldn't find any decent videos of either event. So he decided to make YouTube a site where amateurs could upload their videos and share them with the world. After realizing that the original idea was a flop and being flexible enough to scrap it, they found success with the YouTube of today. That's when the idea from video dating site morphed into the video sharing site it is today. 10. Embrace change. Be vulnerable. Be open to changing course if it will lead you to greater success. Swallow your pride and ask for help if you need it. In the face of an obstacle which is impossible to overcome, stubbornness is stupid. Simone de Beauvoir. If you're working on something and are continually getting stuck, it's probably time to start fresh. Scrapping your original idea for something new can be extremely difficult, but it's not worth it to stick with an idea that's going nowhere. Don't hold on to the original for nostalgic reasons. All of the effort in the world isn't going to make it work. This isn't a fun realization, but it will make your life a lot easier. Starting over is hard. It's humiliating. You're acknowledging failure, which can hurt your pride. I've been there. I don't know how many times I worked on a story for school, hemming and hawing over each word but never feeling like it was coming out right. When I started again with a different idea, the ideas flowed naturally. Even though all my earlier work was lost, it didn't take as much effort as before. Starting over was a great idea. When you find success with your new idea, you'll see that it was all worth it. A little humility goes a long way, not just in your craft but in life too. You are a lot more pleasant to be around, for one. But it also helps you look at your work with a critical eye. If you are able to see that your work is not perfect, that it needs a little finessing, instead of thinking that everything you do is amazing, then you can eventually make it great. Understand that your original idea may not work out as planned, and change course. Don't be afraid to start over. Don't let pride get in your way. Exercise. Is there something in your life that's taking more effort than it should? Consider taking a different approach to the issue. Be creative. Let's say you can't seem to find the right way to describe your best qualities for a cover letter. Instead of getting stuck on one sentence, start over with a fresh idea. Even if you don't use the new version, you can steal ideas from it. Chapter 10. Stop the self-doubt. We all have moments where we feel like we're just not good enough. That's not always a bad thing. It's how we strive to be better and ultimately improve. It's completely normal, and I'd argue, healthy. It becomes a problem when you let those thoughts of self-doubt and insecurity spiral out of control. It starts as a simple "I'm not good enough," but then turns into the thought that you may not really be good at anything, and that you'll probably never amount to anything, and seriously, why did you even bother trying to accomplish anything? Down the spiral you go. This doubt and insecurity can come from a number of different places. It may be deep-rooted in your psyche from early childhood, when your parents told you that you'd never be good enough. Maybe you were just an average student or didn't stand out growing up. Perhaps you have already failed at something, and it was an epic, cringe-inducing mess-up. Though you may not chalk it up as a total loss, it scared you from trying again. You don't want to have those feelings of worthlessness, imperfection, or doom. They aren't easy things to get past, and I applaud you for taking the steps to move forward and give it your best. Sometimes, doubt and insecurity can come from looking at the work of others. I do this all the time. I will read a book and think, how will I ever be able to write like this? I look at other women at the gym or on Instagram and think, how will I be able to lift that much weight? We compare ourselves constantly with other people who may be further along on their journey or just have different priorities. Get out of your own way by implementing the following 3 tips. Don't compare yourself with others. Easier said than done, I know. But unless you are in a direct competition with that person for something very specific, it makes no sense at all to compare yourself to them. You don't know how long that person has been working on what they do. You don't know his struggle, his insecurities, or the thoughts that keep him up at night. You are not going to be that person, ever. Don't think twice about him. If that doesn't work, remind yourself of all the things you are amazing at. You may not be the strongest one in the gym, but you're the smartest one at work. You may not look the best in skinny jeans, but your husband thinks you cook a mean lasagna. That girl may have a nicer car than you, but you have got a better smile. See what I'm saying? We all have different strengths. If you find someone that is better at the one thing you are trying to be good at, that's okay too. It's okay. Don't measure your success by comparing it to another person's version of it. And be nice. Life is not a competition. Being successful does not mean others have to fail, yourself included. Be supportive of those who succeed, and don't tear others down if you're feeling jealous. 11. Coach your inner negative voice. Don't let insecurity control your actions. I'm not good enough. I'm never going to be on their level, so I should just give up now. My book art business is terrible. No one is going to notice me. Sounds ridiculous, right? But these are the kinds of things we tell ourselves all the time. We'd never speak that way to our loved ones, so why do we do it ourselves? There are times when we don't have enough faith in ourselves to act out on our big ideas. In Tara Mohr's book Playing Big, Find Your Voice, Your Mission, Your Message, she says that negative self-talk keeps us from acting with courage, assertiveness, and creativity. She suggests that instead of telling yourself how you're not good enough, encourage yourself. Tell yourself that you can do it, but that it's okay to make mistakes. 12. Self-doubt is normal, but it can't control your actions. Even if you feel like your work is rubbish, convince yourself otherwise. Besides the fact that you're probably being overcritical, everyone has moments where they feel like they just can't create good work. To be able to continue with your goals and live a happy and productive life, You can't give in to those negative thoughts. And by the way, everything in life is writable about if you have the outgoing guts to do it, and the imagination to improvise. The worst enemy to creativity is self-doubt. Sylvia Plath. Don't let doubt control you. You are good enough to do this work. In fact, you are the best person to create it. You may not write a book like Faulkner, and you will probably not paint like Michelangelo. But that's okay, because it's your work, and you're the best person to do it. Even if you don't feel like you are, do it anyways. Even if you have no idea what you're doing, pretend like you do. Even if you have to fake it, convince yourself that you are going to fulfill your life's passion and reach your full potential. I have self-doubt. I have insecurity. I have fear of failure. I have nights when I show up at the arena and I'm like, my back hurts, my feet hurt, my knees hurt. I don't have it. I just want to chill. We all have self-doubt. You don't deny it, but you also don't capitulate to it. You embrace it. Kobe Bryant. Don't overthink. Your job is not to judge your work, but to create it. Believe in yourself and the work you do. Success is not predictable. Don't second-guess your work based on what you think the critics will say. If the recipe for success were objective, some set of criteria that could simply be followed, then wouldn't everyone do it that way? Even great artists have flops. The most unexpected things can become successful. 50 Shades of Grey, anyone? Be confident in your work. We are our own harshest critics. We tend to see the negative in what we do instead of finding the strengths. Take away your judgment and do the best you can. Anyone can judge your work, only you can create it. Let that empower you to move forward. Section EA. Finish strong. Chapter 11. Be healthy. You've been working your butt off. You've learned more about yourself than you ever thought you would. You've gotten farther than you ever thought you could. Don't let your body derail your success. Keep it healthy by eating right, exercising, and getting that shut-eye. A healthy body supports a healthy and creative mind, one that is able to do non-stop amazing things. Instead of worrying about your physical limitations, you can focus on living life at your greatest potential. I understand that some of us are affected by health conditions that are out of our control. That being said, so much of our overall health is the outcome of our lifestyle choices. If you want your body to produce the highest quality output, you're going to have to give it what it needs. Put some effort into it, and it will pay dividends for days. Making healthy choices will give you the energy you need to achieve your goals. I'm not saying you need to eat only salads or hire a personal trainer to feel your best. Start small by simply listening to your body and its needs. Think about how your body reacts after you eat fast food or a night of drinking. Sure, it's fun and tasty at the time, but how do you feel once it's over? Do you want to compromise your productivity and health because of these short-term pleasures? You're not getting any younger, after all. It's not about weight loss or striving for some unrealistic ideal. Incorporating healthy habits will help you feel your best and increase your creative output. Move. Exercise is not only a great stress reliever, it can also fuel your creativity. Loads of brilliant minds took up walking to release their minds so they could put it back to work all over again. Beethoven was known for his walks around Vienna. Steve Jobs, Charles Darwin, Friedrich Nietzsche, all walkers who did their heavy thinking during a light stroll. And it turns out that they were onto something. Researchers from Stanford discovered that walking boosts creativity, whether it's indoors or out. Walkers produced twice as many creative thoughts as those sitting inside. 13. They concluded that walking is a great way to open the free flow of ideas, all while increasing physical activity. Exercise is also an own mood booster. Don't fall into the trap of becoming a brooding artist. Get your blood pumping to spur creativity. Eat real food. You've heard it a million times, you are what you eat. A well-balanced diet helps you think more clearly and gives you energy. When you make poor food choices, you can feel it in your mind and body. You become more sluggish and moody, and you can't perform at your peak. Science backs this up, too. Eating unhealthily is linked with lower levels of productivity in the workplace. 14. Besides eating your vegetables, try to balance out your carbohydrates, fats and proteins. Avoid processed foods and sugary drinks and foods. Cut back on the booze if you're a heavy drinker. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, hangovers cost Americans about $1.37 for each drink in lost productivity. 15. If you want to get things done, take responsibility for what you put in your mouth. Sleep. When did staying up late become so cool? I say we end that notion right now. Sleeping does so much for your health that it's integral you get as much as you need. Not only does your brain cement memories and new information while you sleep, 16, it heals your body, sharpens your attention, helps you solve problems and lower stress, and it can make you more creative. 17, the brain reorganizes and restructures memories overnight to make you see things differently when you wake up. So get your 8 hours. Exercise. What's one healthy habit you could improve upon? What's an unhealthy thing you can cut out? Try to do both tomorrow. Chapter 12. Be disciplined. Do you know what the biggest factor is for success? It's not talent. It's not how smart you are, how attractive you are, or what kind of family you grew up in. It's grit. Grit is more than just hard work or resilience. It's working hard to pursue your passion, sticking with something even when it sucks, following through on the promises you make, and being resilient in the face of failure. Angela Lee Duckworth, a researcher from the University of Pennsylvania, conducted over a decade of research on grit. She even won a MacArthur Genius Grant for all of her hard work. 18. She describes grit as perseverance and passion for long-term goals. It's being able to stay interested in and put effort towards sustained goals. People who are gritty tend to be more successful in life, regardless of their innate ability or special circumstance. 19, 20. Duckworth and her team developed a scale of grittiness, factors that determine how much grit a person has. They created a 12-question test with statements you identify with on a scale from 1 to 5. They include: I have been obsessed with a certain ideal project for a short time but later lost interest, or I am a hard worker. You can take the quiz here, don't worry, it will do the math for you. Takeaway: be gritty. Stick with your goals and passions. Even when it sucks and you want to give up, you must keep going. Stay focused and positive. When you get into a tight place and everything goes against you until it seems that you can't hold on for a minute longer, never give up then, for that is just the time and place when the tide will turn. Harriet Beecher Stowe. Don't give up. Be the person who follows through. Be reliable. Bask in the satisfaction you'll ultimately feel when you do what you set out to do. Exercise. What was the last obstacle you faced? How did you overcome it and what would have done differently? Think of someone you admire or look up to. What kind of obstacles did they face on their path to success? How did they react to them? Chapter 13. Celebrate your success. Celebrate. Relish in this moment, because it will be over before you know it. For a moment, don't think about all of the things you would have done differently. Don't lament about how long it took you or how it didn't turn out like you imagined it would. You did it. Summary. Make it specific. Your goal should be easy to define, attainable, but still challenging. Make it authentic. Don't strive for something that's not meaningful to you. Let your gut guide you to your dream. Keep it to yourself. Fight the desire to share it with others, because you will be less likely to achieve it. If you must share it, do it with someone you trust who will give you gentle encouragement. Start somewhere. You can't put off the work forever. Start working on your dream, even if it's just 5 minutes a day. Break it down. Split the big tasks into smaller steps to make your dream more manageable. Schedules and habits. Take time every day to work on your dream. Do it until it becomes a habit. Don't procrastinate. Leave your excuses at the door. If your dream is important to you, you will make time to do it. Living your dream might mean making sacrifices, but it will be worth it when it's over. Simplify. Focus on what's important, and let go of the rest. Be humble and flexible. Don't be afraid to change course or take criticism. Stop the self-doubt. Quiet your inner critic that says you're not good enough. You're the best person to do this job. Do it well. Stay healthy. Take care of your body in order to continue producing high-quality work. Be disciplined. Stick with it, even when the going gets tough. Having grit will lead to major success. Celebrate your success. Enjoy it. Don't look back on your work, wishing for a different outcome. You've done a great job.